What's bad, YouTube? And welcome to some sus activity on the market. We have a lot of buyouts where the numbers don't make sense and I think are trying to cause FOMO stampedes or strong appearances, and it almost feels like a Pokemon tactic for their market. So we have had a lot of outside crypto bro investor types trying to come into the market and not really understand how it works, and there's so many that alarm bells are going off, so let's go ahead and cover it. First off, skill drain is popular right now and being targeted, however, not like this. Look at the prices. $32 already, $35. The whole front page is under 40. We have 8 sold at 50, 9 more sold at 50, a buy at 45, another buy at 50. Makes absolutely no sense versus the price history. And yes, it skyrocketed around the 10th where a lot of these cards are. I did cover the ultimate rare market. Some cards moved after I did, but this kind of a rolling into it doesn't make sense when you see the other cards as well. Big Welcome Labyrinth spiked on up. It did feel undervalued. It's around 25 for one and then 35, and the whole front page is around that $40 mark. Yet when we look at the buyouts, 6 again sold at 50 and then one more at 40, and you can see the rest of the sales are very down. That doesn't add up once again on those final weird quantity sales. And then it happens with one that I did highlight, Dark Fusion. I said this felt undervalued for so long. It was around $6 to $8 still. It's now a low of $22, except we see a sale again at $60. I think they're trying to mess with that end of buyout. Look how hyped this is. Look where people are willing to go, on top of trying to affect the market price. And they just don't know Yu-Gi-Oh! We've had a lot of outsiders come in, crypto bros, recently, and this does feel more Pokemon try to set a new wall tactic. It's not going to work in Yu-Gi-Oh! What works in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is triple, double, quadruple down buyouts to try to set new price memories, and even those don't stick sometimes. This kind of market manipulation is something that does set me off. I don't like to see it. We've seen it attempted in the past and failed time and time again, and I do want to raise the alarm bells around it. And it's not just ultimate rares. Look at Droll and Lock alter art. Now, you could say a lot of theories about, well, alter arts are very popular, they're hot, this could be some kind of investment for someone. This isn't even the only version or printing of the altar, right? Like, this came in gold rare, everybody's favorite rarity, I know. So the quarter century secret rare is going to be loved. Look at this buyout. This is ridiculously priced now at above $60. And we see the sales all the way to 80, one at 150. Yikes. Another 80, one at 100 Euro English, multiple quantities on all, and a ton at 30s and 40s. This isn't real to me in terms of trying to stick this landing when we look at the rest of Drolls, because why is the platinum still behind here? Oh, you can get this art, by the way, in secret rare and tons of other rarities because it's a rarity collection card in a failed rarity collection. Now, alter arts have been hyped, this one specifically not. Almost the whole community at large agreed this is not as good as the OG art. And I believe this art's actually by somebody more famous within the art community. But when it comes to the alter art, it has long underperformed versus the main art, and it's not like people are suddenly appreciating it, and it's not like it doesn't have its own competition where you can acquire the art. We saw with Maze, there was an overreaction to some of the alter arts, and those have already fallen out. There are a lot of alter arts that do well for themselves, but this combined with the ultis and the numbers and the quantities and the overbuys and the buyouts are all screaming out one thing. It's market manipulation past what we usually see in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community, which does tell me outsiders most likely really trying to test tactics. It's not going to work, at least not at first, not with the lower amount of money being spent. It may look like a lot to you in terms of what was spent versus the Yu-Gi-Oh! Market. We can already see fallout. We can already see tons of people really happy to list theirs way under where they tried to force it, and we don't know if these are people just taking the fees on their own cards to try to cause this to where they never had to mail it, or if they are actually buying these and actually sinking that money in to try to cause these market tactics and test Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not a fan. and I don't think it's money well spent. I think there's a lot of better places to spend money in Yu-Gi-Oh!, which I'll actually highlight one you might not expect at the end because I hate the set. But when it comes down to some of these, certain prices were great to buy the cards at, but the end result and the end attempts are, this is what looks more natural to me. This is bought out to 65, which seems very high. Look where the sale stopped for the most part, except there's one at 80 again that I actually didn't notice earlier. But most of the sales and listings that moved made sense to a degree, stopping at the $40 mark, trying to boost it to 60. That's a more typical Yu-Gi-Oh! Buyout. It's still not one you love to see, but Diabellstar has tons of versions. It was in a Rarity collection. You can get another version. This is going for a vanity rarity buyout. It's more ethical among consumerism. Let's be real. Like, it's a vanity rarity, as Konami dubs it. And when it comes down to a buyout, this makes more sense besides that $80 sale. And that could even be described as somebody buying it from another region, since it's just one and it's not some mass version of copies. But too many coincidences line up all in a similar place for me to just kind of let it go and not start to really raise an eyebrow. So let me know what you think. I know you all have been enjoying market theory talks lately, and this is more numbers adding up than theory. It's continued repeating cycles at a similar time of a push in a certain direction that lines up together, rather than coincidences, in my opinion, with some pretty poorly received cards for the past while. Rarity Collection 5 has its prices out here. It's pre-sale locked. The main thing that's interesting to me is the conversation with the community over the sealed, because I said boxes are flying and somebody said, not really, look at the price dipping. Look at this if we actually zoom in. The graph does look like it continues down, but look at this low 110 market price and 114 now on the boxes. But I want you to focus on the quantities when we move over the graph. 92 here in that period. Then we get to 89, 162, 105, 152, 127. And when the price drops to be more reasonable, all of a sudden, and this is why the price drops, 491 items sold, 420, and then almost 500, the 300s, 400. This is insane movement early on a TCG pre-sale lock. It is people going, that's the price I wanted, and price and demand, the price came down and demand went way up, so people are happier to make that guaranteed margin. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has this very weird thing in their market that continues today despite the terrible 2025 market, where people order large volumes of boxes and are willing to make razor-thin margins for the volume they pump out. And somehow that mentality hasn't changed despite 2025 destroying a lot of those vendors. Some of them still exist, are willing to move this mass of quantity. 690 boxes available here from Tree Otter. And then we see here, everybody's got multiple cases for the most part at the bottom. And that quantity is weighted at the lowest prices versus everybody else. That's why the prices are down. People are willing to make those margins in volume to make a greater amount of money earlier and race to the bottom. Every Rarity collection has pretty much had a similar graph where it releases, it goes down, then it goes way up. Rarity Collection 1 was the fastest, and even it evened out for a while. But when we're looking at the specific boxes, Stampede is recently getting bought out, but it released almost a year ago, and you can even see that downward trend before it comes upward, downward, has its cycle, right? But it released in April, and you can see here it slowly did whittle before rising. And then here Bonanza's going bonanza. It is $200+ a box and is fully bought out. And this is a more common tactic, like look at all these boxes that sold out at 200. Whenever a new product releases in the line, people reach back to the old one. So it's not surprising to see somebody try something with Rarity 2, but Alter Art Droll and Lock wasn't on my list to be messed with in that fashion. I would have thought it would be the OG art. But yeah, look at Bonanza go, look at Stampede go, and now look at the volume of Rarity go. What this is realistically being carried by is a few select choices and a brand new rarity. And I'm not talking about the kanji rares. I'm talking about, of course, the overframes. And Mirror Jade is the talk of every town. Everybody's looking for it, trying to overpay for it to get it early for Twitter points. Like, it is crazy to watch people hunt down the Mirror Jade right now. And absolutely, people are starting to realize just how hard it will be to pull, kind of like old school Starlights. But be aware, just Rarity in general is popping off. Now this one's a buyout. Skull Servant Chibi Starlight Rare bought out to $190. You can see here it went at the 20s and a couple did go at crazy prices before it left the building. And you have plenty of realisters hoping for a payday. I think the reason the chibis are going are they are finally making chibi arts that are new to the game instead of old used models like these. I'm pretty sure these are from another game in the past, and I'm very certain this has been used for a long time. The Blue Eyes as well has been targeted, so it's not just our good old Skull Servant. Also, Neo spiking pretty crazily, 30 and then 40 quickly. And then Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. This is more natural over time, up towards 15 and quickly goes up on the front page. I will suggest with Skull Servant, there's tons of nice versions. I noticed this quarter century secret rare, as many quarter century secrets have been targeted and bought out lately, is still cheaper than the Yugi World Ultra Rare, and it's out of Stampede. So this might be one you want to be getting sooner than later with the attention coming this way. The Speed Duel Tournament Pack 3 version, and there's so many Speed Duel buyouts. By the way, I actually forgot to pull up those tabs, so you'll see that Wednesday, but maybe look through the Speed Duel market. It is ridiculous. It is actually crazy. But going through here, like, you might want to get certain versions because meme cards like this do get revisited. How many times have we pulled up Skull Servant over here? So this QCR, probably a decent buy. Malong! You can make all the jokes you want. Malong is really getting up there. It is $10 for that holographic lowest and actually has sales up in this range once again. We've seen this one cycle its buyout so many times, though. I told you when this was basically still treated as bulk during those first ones to get it. This is now towards a 50-cent card, so doing a little better than bulk. DDDs continue their buyout cycles. There goes Sky King Zeus Ragnarok again. We see Dimensional King here is back up a little. Just be aware, Genesis hype / people hoping that it can be generalized. Sea Monster Theseus gets a double down buyout here. This one, best card of 2017. It is just continuing to rise up. I think I forgot to mention also it's a great super poly target against all the tuners in Cool Tune. Then we have Lacrima, the Crimson Tears. That is how it works, right? It is, yeah, any two tuners. I gotta check myself once in a while. It's not that it's just a tuner itself. Lacrima, I love saying it wrong all the time. This has started going up back towards a $20 card if you want access to the original secret rare, and it's not like the mega pack is far behind at 16. Then while I was looking that up, I forgot about our good old Witchcrafter support card of their magic Lacrima of Light, and it is up towards $4 at this point, spiking pretty hard with that new Witchcrafter support and the fact that Magicist will be played pretty heavily with Invoke 2. Not sure it'll make the deck. Let me know if it will. Magician's Valkyria, the OG. This just had its statue release, so this is interesting timing for a buyout. It has one copy or seller here at 2 copies at 7 before it's $9+, and we can see it went pretty much cheaper and slowly, but not too many near mints have sold. All of its lower kind of light plays, etc., that are cheaper have been disappearing, though. I do wonder if that market crosses over and people want the card to display with their statue and they're like, light play will be good enough in a sleeve, or if it just puts it in people's minds around the card, or if it's all the Dark Magician Girl buyouts and it just says, oh look, it's almost Dark Magician Girl. Let me know what you think on that one. Cyber Dragon here. This one I wanted to highlight because it basically reminds me of how the Yu-Gi-Oh market really has been going. Because look, till end of last year, it came back down despite a little bit of hype around it. And then when we stretch this graph out, it is just up and up harder and continuing that direction of doubling up and going crazy. And but still within the time reasonable for the card itself. This is where a lot of the Yu-Gi-Oh market's at. It's been recovering versus this giant fall off from last year. And Cyber Dragon's a great card. It's GX. People remember this card, love it, want a nice version. The Ultimate Rare is one of the best. This just kind of signifies the Yu-Gi-Oh market on it is back. People are after almost everything that they can think of, and the entire market's kind of going that direction for the most part, unless people are really scared you're going to get a Starlight version of a card once again. These character cards I covered, Yujo Friendship, Unity also went all the way to 25 and got bought out at 20. Then Judgment of the Pharaoh also went absolutely bananas. Now, we saw play for this card once and it went to 80. So a lot of people might still have this that are watching that teched it for a format for funsies. This did sell out at the $55 mark, and you can see most of them the past months were going for 30, 25. One did go for 55 here as well. So it's kind of settled at a price of 55, but all those are gone. And you might have this because you played it for a deck just a bit ago, so maybe you got it sitting around. Fishborg Blaster Super getting bought out again. This is one that has risen above its QCR multiple times, but for a Turbo Pack Super instead of, say, a Champion Pack or Tournament Pack, the Turbo Pack is a Tournament Pack, but I'm saying for specifically Tournament Pack and Champion Pack. This continues to just get bought out time and time again for the Edison heads, and you have different versions, but reject modern max rarity on this one. It feels like people are sticking with the old school. Speaking of, Dandelion really trends up over time too here. It is now 190 lowest, but that's actually cheaper than a lot of the recent sales at 190 to even 200. Pretty crazy to watch where the market's going when you have utility and collectability. Good old GX card there. Naturia Rose Whip. I believe this is Cool Tune. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think it's just generic Synchro Slop, but even the super rare is really, really gone. Bought up to the point of $30. And this brings me to a set I didn't love a long time ago. Hidden Arsenal Chapter 1. Now, MBT has plenty of bad suggestions, so why don't I make one? But I actually don't think it's that bad at this point, unfortunately. I think this set has had time to age just a little. And you can see people have come around and seen this one. What's fixed on TCG Player is this didn't used to appear when I would search Naturia Rose Whip, and now it looks like it's fixed to where Hidden Arsenal Chapter 1 cards pop up when I'm searching a card. Hidden Arsenal Chapter 1 is still cheap as all get out for an entire display. And while there's not a lot of upside on the cards yet, they are getting visited in mass. Look at the quantities on some of these cards and how low it is for many of these cards, because people don't want to open this. So when it comes down to it, I think it is worth visiting to some degree this sealed, as a lot of these go, but I would go for the singles instead. Like Mistworm here, all the other Mistworms have doubled up, and now this is the cheapest by a very wide margin. So not a bad copy to get if you're looking for a Mistworm, right? So again, the singles are where I'd be at, but the sealed actually starts to get eyebrow raising for me, considering all these DT foiled cards. Now they don't look as good as OG DT. They are still going to be the budget version. They're not even going to count as mid-max for many of the cards. They're going to be mid, but there's a lot of really nice choices in here that float back into metagames time and time again and into old school formats that aren't seeing reprints and are seeing demand. So I like the singles more, but the sealed finally is becoming a little interesting and is baby bumping up there too right now. So something to keep an eye on. Thanks for watching today's Yu-Gi-Oh! Market Watch. I know these have been long. I have a lot to cover in tandem with certain market theories, and I don't think it's any kind of conspiracy alarm bells. I think this is definitely alarm bells, at least in my opinion. Thanks for watching, everybody.